animals. Oh, this is so exciting. This is my first actual like live virtual Zoom. So thanks, Christina and Anna and Jack's Treehouse. I'm actually so excited to do this. So for those of you that don't know who I am, just a quick little background. So my name is Jessica, and me and my mom are the owners of 2x2 Petting Zoo. We're a traveling educational zoo. So this is our 26th year traveling. All the animals that I have are rescued or voluntarily placed. And once they come to me, they're with me forever. So I don't rehome any of the animals. They're part of our zoo program, our traveling ambassadors, but they are also my personal pets. So I'm a mom of a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. So these guys are used to animals. The animals are used to being handled. So it's really fun to have them be part of our program. So being virtual, I know you guys can't touch, but excited to still bring the program to you guys. You gotta love technology for that one. So there is a chat. So if you guys have any questions during the presentation, feel free to put them in a little chat box, mom and dads, and I'll be happy to answer them at the end. I also have some cool, fun coloring pages that I will send to Ms. Rubico so that you guys can have some fun coloring pages about the animals that we talked about today. And we're gonna jump right in. So the first animal I have is actually probably one of my favorites. It took me years to let my mom and dad get this animal for me.
Okay.
Believe it or not, it's actually my son's pet, my 6-year-old son. We're gonna bring her on out. And her name is Zara. I'm gonna so you guys can see her. Look at that. So this is a snake. So Zara is an African ball python. So if you notice right now, she's curled into a really, really tight ball. This is to help keep herself nice and protected from predators and also to keep her warm. You've got snakes that are cold-blooded. We are warm-blooded. That means that our temperatures always stay the same. But snakes doesn't stay the same. So they require the sun to make them nice and warm. So during the daytime, she stretches out on a nice warm rock or warm sand, and she soaks up all the sun into her scales, and it heats her up. And the hotter they get, the more active she gets. If you notice here, she's moving. That's because I'm nice and warm, and she's using my hands to heat up her body, to heat up her scales, because she's a reptile. And as she sits here, she's gonna be sticking her tongue out. Oh, let's see if we can see that. Oh, there it is. How cool is that? So unlike us, she can't smell with her nose. She uses her tongue. Imagine if we smelled with our tongue, that would be so silly. But Zara, she smells with her tongue. So she sits on the bottom of the floor because if you notice, she's black and she's brown. So she can camouflage into the dirt and the leaves and the bushes and the stumps of trees, and that's how she camouflages. So she sits there really, really still. You don't even know she's there. And then when she smells with her tongue, she can pick up the food that's around her. But Zara has a really cool feature. See, we have to eat 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 times a day. Maybe not that much, but we eat a lot. Believe it or not, snakes don't eat every day, sometimes not even every week. Some snakes can go only twice a month to eat. Some snakes will eat only once a month, and some snakes will eat only twice a year. Depends on how hot they get. Now Zara, she's actually almost full grown. She'll get about 4 feet in length. So I can stretch her out a little bit. Whoop. Look at that. She's actually quite large, but when she's in my hand, she looks pretty small. And now since she's a reptile, she has to shed her skin. So every 3 months, her skin comes off and leaves behind a shed. And then her new skin is shiny and it can stretch and it's like elastic and helps her grow and get bigger. So we're gonna put her back. Say bye, Zara. We're gonna bring out something really cool. So this guy, people always get him confused with his cousin. When you see him, you're probably gonna say, oh my gosh, I really like that turtle, but guess what, guys?
What?
He's not a turtle. He is a tortoise. There's some really big differences. If you notice on his feet, he has stumps. Tortoises have stumped feet. Turtles have webbed feet because turtles have to swim in the water. These guys don't swim. This guy right here is Dexter. He's almost 5 years old, and he is from South America. And since he can't go into the water when there's predators around, how does he protect himself? Turtles also can hide in their shell, but Dexter, he actually can't go all the way in his shell. So what he does is he finds some stumps, and he actually uses the bottom of his shell right here called a shovel, and actually digs little holes into the bottom of the tree trunk, and he goes in head first, and it helps keep him nice and safe. Now, just like the snake we talked about, these guys are also cold-blooded, and they have a cool feature. The top of their shell, these are called their
spit all over me.
It's like the original solar panel. There's actually 13. You got 3 in the middle and 10 all the way around. And in this shell is a really big blood supply. Without their shell, they couldn't survive. So as the sun heats up, their scoots and makes their bodies nice and warm. And he will walk 4 to 5 miles a day. He eats dandelions, fruits. He loves plants and bananas. Like that. And if you notice, he has a really sharp beak on the front of his mouth. That's to help be able to pull the grass and the fruits apart to be able to chew them. It's almost like having teeth, but their jaws are a little bit rigid. And this guy, he'll get about 18 inches when he's full grown. If you notice, I have a paper towel on him. Sometimes he gets a little accident, so we have to make sure we keep us and him protected. And these guys make really cool pets because since they don't live in the water, these guys are actually really easy to maintain. He also loves to be outside, especially this time of year as it's getting warmer, right? We're crossing our fingers and hoping for warmer weather. This is his favorite time as it's about 65, 70 degrees and about 80. These guys live when it's about 85 degrees, so they like to have it nice and hot and warm. They'll live between 65 and 75 years of age, so they can actually live a really, really long time. That right? Say hi, Dexter. All right. So the next guy that I have is actually endangered. That's a really big word, endangered. Now that word means that there's not many left in the wild. What kind of animal would I have that's endangered? And she's actually only this big. Let's meet her. Come here, you. Say hi. This is a chinchilla. So this is Chinny. She is actually about 9 years old.
Unfortunately, our screen isn't.
And people always say,
we were making all the noise.
People always say, chinchilla, why are they endangered? I can always see them at the pet stores. That doesn't make any sense to me. The native country.
I'm trying to watch this, Riley.
They're from South America and the Andes Mountains.
Say mute. We're muted.
If the Greer can just mute themselves, perfect. So these guys are from the Andes Mountains. They be where it's really, really cold. So her fur is super thick. If her fur is so thick, can she get wet? Believe it or not, she cannot get wet. What? She can't get wet? Well, then how does she clean herself? Believe it or not, chinchillas, since they live in the Andes Mountains near the volcanoes, and volcanoes have volcanic ash, that's what they use. So these guys roll in the volcanic ash and actually has like a dusting on their coat to help keep them protected. And her hair is so thick on our heads, we have follicles, and that's where our hair lives. We only have one hair for one follicle. The chinchillas have 50 hairs per one follicle. That's a lot of hair. So she might look like she's a bigger animal, but her bones are actually very small and brittle, and it's mostly fluff. And they shed a lot, and that's a way to protect themselves. When they're being chased by predators, they actually will lose clumps of fur. So it looks like there's a couple chinchillas hopping around because they're so fast. And these guys can actually jump 6 feet in the air. Imagine animal jumping that's bigger than you. That's really, really high. And their feet actually have these little pads on them because they like to live in the rocks. And they have to, oh, there it is. Look at that little foot. They live in the rocks and have to actually protect their feet. So they have actual little pads on their feet so they don't get injured from the rocks when they're climbing all around. Now these guys have little litters called kits, and they'll have about 2 to 3 chinchillas at a time. And when chinchillas are born, they're actually born with their eyes open, full of hair already bouncing around. They love to eat nuts, seeds, berries, but her favorite is kale. Now, most of the time in the wild, you'll just see gray chinchillas, but in captivity over the years, they've actually bred different colors. So I have the gray one, Chinny. I actually have a silver and also a white. And if they're so endangered, but we have a lot here, why won't they just put them back in the wild? We don't want to take animals that have been bred in captivity, just put them back outside. They're not going to know how to survive, right? Are they really chinchilla? Are they completely healthy? So we have to make sure that the native chinchillas are being protected. So that's why they're still critically endangered, but the numbers are coming back up. Now, these guys also like to sleep a lot during the day and awake in the evening and nighttime. So they've got really, really big eyes and they're really big whiskers. If you notice, she's moving her nose and her whiskers a lot. That's how she senses. She's trying to figure out what's around her, who's holding her, sniffing everything. Their smell is really, really strong. And they love to be on their wheel. And since we don't live near volcanoes, right? I can't have a volcano in my backyard. How do I keep her clean? I give her dust. So they actually make a chinchilla dust, and 3 times a week, I put it into a big house. Looks like a whole house, chinchilla dust bath house, they call them. And I put it in, and she hops in and twirls all around. So we're gonna put Chinny back, and we're gonna bring out somebody else. This next guy I have loves to eat worms. I bet you guys like to eat worms, right? No, you don't like to eat worms? Oh, here he is. You gonna say hi, Milo? Say hi. So Milo is a bearded dragon. He is a sunfire bearded dragon. That means that he is yellow and he is orange. And right now he's actually starting to get ready for a shed. So his colors aren't as bright as when he just sheds his skin and his scales. This is a bearded dragon. Now these guys are from Australia, and they get their name because underneath their chin is an actual little beard. And when these guys are being chased by predators, or they want to seem bigger than they really are, they actually puff up their beard, and believe it or not, all of this turns black, like black. And what happens is the sun can reflect off of it and make him seem like he's a lot bigger than he really is. Now these guys, just like the snake and the tortoise, they are also cold-blooded. So we have to supply lights for him during the day when he's inside to help make sure that all the right nutrients are getting into his scales. Now during the summertime, I actually have outdoor housing for the reptile, so he actually can get natural sunlight, because natural sunlight is actually the best sunlight to give these reptiles. Gotta make sure that if they're outside, they're in proper housing. He loves to eat spring mix. He likes to eat kale, romaine, bananas, and blueberries. But his all-time favorite are mealworms. He gets them between 2 and 3 times a week. They actually help make them grow, right? Get nice and big. Now, the cool thing with these guys is on the back, they're actually very, very prickly. Oh, there you can see his skin is just starting to get really dark. All of this skin right here, all of it, even on his belly, will all get to be this color. and he'll sit in the water for a few days, and then it'll all get nice and soft, and it actually will all come off. And then when it all comes off, they're very, very vibrant in colors. Most of the time in their native country, Australia, they're not this vibrant. They're more brown in color. Over the years, just like the chinchilla, through captive breeding, they've actually changed their colors, called morphing. They've actually have different colors. So he's a sunfire, you have sunburst, you have reds, you have whites, you have browns. Some of them actually have purple on them. And then these guys actually lay eggs in clutches into the sand. So the mom bearded dragon will dig holes and actually lay her eggs into the sand. And then these guys, their scales, when you pet them this way, it feels like sandpaper, but in the opposite way, it's actually very, very prickly. Because most of the time, predators come from behind, and when they hit all those bumps, they go, ouch, that hurts. And then they don't want to take him. But since we're in Australia, maybe we should find somebody else. I bet you guys are all excited to see my spider. Spiders! Just kidding. But it's actually in here. Oh my gosh. You want to come say hello? Oh! Say hi. Say hi. I know. All these new friends. I know. So this, you guys, is a kangaroo. So this is Jubilee. And Jubilee is 7 months old. She is a baby red kangaroo. They are native to Australia. She was not born in Australia. I do have mom and dad here on our property. I have 9 kangaroos total, so she was born with me. And red kangaroos are the largest species of kangaroos in Australia. And when kangaroos are born, they're actually the size of a jelly bean. So they're actually very, very small. And when they're in mommy's pouch, for the first 5 months, you don't actually ever see them. And then one day, Jubilee says, all right, I want to learn how to hop. And she hops out of the pouch and she jumps all around, but goes in and out of mommy's pouch for another 4 to 5 more months. Now, Jubilee, we actually hand raise all of our joeys once they get to be 6 months of age. So we're gonna give her a little bottle. With this, I know it's your favorite. Can you get it? There we go. And the reason we hand raise all of our kangaroos is they're like a white-tailed deer. So they get very scared easily and very nervous. They have a fight or flight instinct. So we hand raise this way. If we have to do any work with them and get used to them with noises, they're already used to it. So we do hand raise. In about 1.5 years, she'll go back in with her mob. A group of kangaroos is called a mob, and she will live out her life here with us. In the wild, kangaroos live about 3 to 7 years, and in captivity up to 19 to 21 years of age. So they actually live quite a long time in captivity. Now, since she is in the pouch, whether they're boys or girls, they are called joeys. At about 1 year of age, when they're fully out of the pouch, girls are flyers, and yes, they're born with the pouch, and boys are boomers. Now, Jubilee will stay about 4.5 feet tall, about 95 to 100 pounds. And her dad is a little over 6.5 feet tall, about 230 pounds. That should get quite big. You want to say hi? You say hi? And kangaroos are actually crepuscular. I know that's a really, really big word. See, Australia is so hot that kangaroos, they have to be able to stay cool. They can't sweat and they can't pant. So they actually are only awake in dawn and in dusk. And if they do get too hot, they actually have a cool feature. They lick their forearm, and then what that does is the wet saliva actually helps cool their blood. And it actually, you want some more? You still thirsty? Yeah. Actually helps cool their whole entire system down.
Oh, you have to be muted.
Now these guys actually, does that taste good? Is that good? I don't know if I think you drank it all. I think that's it. Now, kangaroos cannot go backwards, and they also can actually swim. Kangaroos are actually excellent swimmers, right? What do you think? Yeah, you think you can swim? But we're not going to try it, right? Not going to try it. No, no. I said, these guys will live with us our full. Oh, these guys, sorry, I got my kids in the living room. I thought I heard one of them call me. Multitasking at its finest, right? These homeschooling days. And these guys said will live with us their whole entire life, right? They're actually very, very soft. And just like they're the Australian marsupial, we have a marsupial here in New York. Do you guys know what the New York marsupial is? What do you think? You guys know? Does anybody know what the New York marsupial is? The possum. So possums have pouches too, just like the kangaroos do. And these guys are grazers. So they like to eat grain, some grass, hay, but their favorite are apples, sweet potatoes, and every once in a while, white powder donuts. Every animal has to have a yummy treat, right? It's really important to give back. Now, all animals that I presented here today, I know, it's really important that if you guys have an animal at home, that you guys are kind, right, and nice, and you touch them. Animals love to have your voice and your touch.
We have to be muted. Do you think everybody?
You guys. So if you guys are excited, your animals are going to be excited, right? It's you getting home from school. Not that there is no school, but when you get home from a walk or doing anything, your dogs are excited to see you, right? Even your fish, believe it or not. I have one fish who responds to my daughter like crazy, a little beta fish. So, right? I know. You see everybody openly? See all the camera? No.
I think we have somebody who has a question. Can Kelly unmute herself?
Yeah, go ahead. We'll put Jubilee in her little extra saucer.
Hey, Kelly, did you have a question? Annie, any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, yesterday.
No.
Ella, what's your question? You have to just unmute yourself, honey.
How did you have eggs? How did you have eggs for the animals?
Which one? Which animal?
Which animal?
The kangaroo.
So the kangaroos actually don't hatch in eggs. Mommies, you can ask your mommy about that one, but kangaroos don't hatch in eggs. We have a question over here. The babies are the size of a jelly bean. So the babies are very, very small, but I think mommy has a really good way of explaining that one to you.
We have a question over here in the Norwalk Treehouse. Go ahead, Bryson.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions over there?
No, I don't have any questions.
How old is the snake?
The snake is going to be 9 years old. So still a baby. Anybody else have any questions? This was so fun. Yeah, go ahead.
How far can kangaroos jump?
How far can kangaroos jump? That's a perfect question. So kangaroos actually can't jump straight up. They have to jump really broad, and they can jump over 6 feet to 18 feet, depending on how big they're and how fast they're hopping when they do jump. So they can jump a long ways.
I think Jason Brooke has a question.
Thank you.
Sure, Lisa, you have a question?
Say, Brooke, go ahead.
How do snakes shed their skin?
How do snakes shed their skin? So what happens is as they grow, their skin gets really, really tight on their bodies, and they have to find a watering hole. And they actually, it's very tight. They actually find a watering hole, and they sit in that water for about 5 to 7 days. And you know how you're in the bathtub or a pool and your hands get all pruny and wrinkly feeling?
Yeah.
That's like their skin. And he's like, oh, I have to get that off. And he comes out of the water and he rubs against the rock. And what that does is right against his nose where it's really hard, he breaks the skin and then he actually slithers out. If mom or dad later want to like YouTube snake sheds, it's actually really cool. I have a link I can send to Mrs. Rubico about snakes shedding their skin. They actually almost crawl out of their skin. It's actually really neat to watch.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How can feed all animals?
What was that, Chase?
How can, say it again?
You can feed all animals.
He wants to know, how do you feed all the animals?
Oh, it is so much work. All the animals have really special diets. I have to make sure that everything has their own grain, hay, and treats. And actually, my mom lives with all the animals, and she's up at 5 a.m. every day. It takes about 4 hours to feed in the morning all of our animals. There's about 75 animals total.
We have another question.
Sure.
He wants to know, how big can the turtle get?
He'll get almost 18 inches, so about that big around. So it's hard to say. It's hard to see on the camera, but he gets very, very big.
Eliana and Ariana, you could unmute. I think you had a question.
Go ahead.
Where's the mommy kangaroo and where's the daddy kangaroo?
They're outside on vacation. So mommy kangaroo and daddy kangaroo, they're outside. We have a lot of property, and they have a big 40-foot barn with an acre, and they're actually out hopping around with about 6 other kangaroos. So they're here, but I'm just being the daycare provider today.
Say thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have any more questions? This was a lot of fun.
This was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This was great. It's just so exciting.
And then when everything calms down, we have to have you guys come back, and then we have to hold that kangaroo again. What do you guys think about that?
Yes, I know. We're all excited for things to kind of return, and we would love to come down to you guys and actually hold the snake and do all the fun stuff.
Yes, we want.
I'll send you some coloring pages and the kids, and to send out, and they can color some stuff. And feel free to tag us. And thank you guys so much. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.